thing, what does that mean in terms of game mechanics? Does that just mean that it's more vulnerable to breaking down the next time, or what?
Well, for one thing, if it goes below D, it's inoperable. It's destroyed. It's
Okay,
done.
so technically I could let it get possibly worse before it's completely unusable.
Yeah, and at the moment, I can't think of another problem it has. Like I thought maybe you can do one less ammo for every degradation, but I'll have to look it up again. But I can't think of anything right now.
I think that's as I understood it. So it goes down to A, B. If it jams again, it will go to C and then D and so on. So if you don't maintain your weapons by spending a shift to maintain them back up, you run the risk of them permanently malfunctioning, I think is how it works.
And
Yeah.
When you do the thing, do I have to make a roll for that, or is it just automatic success?
I think it's a tech roll.
A tech roll, yeah. And I think it might not take a full shift. Well, it does to upgrade your weapon. Let me think a minute. What was I? Oh, if you use your weapon at any time. Okay, no, actually, I'll get back to that.
I'm happy to look that up as we go through repairs.
Yeah, it's.
I've got the rule book here.
There's just a couple things. Okay.
Restoring a reduced reliability rating one step requires a shift of repairs, but no spare parts are needed.
So full shift, okay.
I believe so. I'll double check. I can check that's going. In terms of like next steps, so it's about noon. I would propose that we continue to move, and then find somewhere after the next shift. So when it gets to evening, to rest. So continue to move through the afternoon and rest through the night.
Who's the most injured out of us? Is it Hillbilly?
I don't think anybody's injured. Hillbilly's potentially going to be sick, but I don't think anybody's actually like took a bullet or anything, unless I'm wrong.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Is anybody taking damage? Is Mary taking any damage?
She did, but it was self-inflicted by falling over.
That's right. The uncoordinated.
Twisted her ankle a little bit.
Banged up. Pride. Bruised pride, maybe. Okay,
yeah,
well.
Scuffed knees.
I guess we can roll this thing, and I'm recording to my cloud, just so you know, everybody. Session 2 of Twilight 2000. Thanks for coming, everybody. We're going to kind of start with everybody, if they wanted to add on anything they did back at the, the ambush site. There would have been maybe a couple minutes, but you guys pretty well did what you wanted to do and scrounged what you could. Anybody have anything they wanted to do there before we entered the forest?
I think that this is going to be a pretty obvious answer, but when you say the vehicle exploded, it exploded into pieces, didn't it? Absolutely obliterated.
Unfortunately, yes. Inoperable. And you questioned it originally if it was even close to operable. Like it was up on blocks and such.
I wonder, could we scavenge? Well, it'd probably take too long, but you could potentially scavenge for spare parts from the vehicle. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, you could. And in that case, you'd make a tech roll, and then you might find something like a working alternator or some fuel, heaven forbid, or...
Yeah, well, I mean, that was kind of my point, but I guess if you're saying it kind of got obliterated in the explosion, then...
No, not actually obliterated.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, there's always something, but it did get hit hard. It was...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if it's reasonable, then Lunk will have a good scavenge through that before going.
All right, you could actually recon.
Because
roll.
David, I don't know if you saw, I put the rules for repairing your weapon in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like there's need to spare parts, to be honest.
Okay.
I see.
I've got a bit of a question there, Darren, because you're going to ask me to make a recon roll. Does that mean that I don't get any advantage for being decent with mechanics or anything like that when scavenging for spare parts? It's purely reliant on recon ability.
Oh yeah, you are the mechanic, of course. So I could give you a bonus in this case. I'll give you +1. It does come down to a bit of luck as well, but you know what to look for, right? You're like, oh, hey, this is a working starter or something, right? Or an alternator. The nice thing about an alternator is you can fandangle the generator out of that and produce power. So if you find a radio that needs power, you can now hook that up to a bicycle pedal and get that alternator going, and you have a charge.
And sorry, just before we do this, will this take a full shift to try and scavenge, or is this just a quick thing?
No, it's a quick one. I was gonna.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
In that case, then I don't know if Hillbilly can help, because it does have the scrounger trait, which gives a +1 modifier to survival rolls for scrounging. I don't know if that's.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, that's great. I could just sort of picture Hillbilly sort of picking up bits and going, how about this? How about this? How about this?
Why?
Yeah,
That's,
that's cool. That's great.
He's pretty
So
good with
you'll
tech
have-
himself, actually, but yeah.
I'll-
so if
I'll
it can
give-
help, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say it takes you guys 5 to 10 minutes to do what you do at the battle scene. So you're using a stretch before you head it off.
Okay.
Now who's doing the lookout?
Question.
I can look at.
Right. So we'll start with you guys leaving after you scrounge. Let's see that roll. So we'll use a recon roll in +2. So chances are you'll find something.
Just starting up Discord. So could somebody roll for me at the moment? While Discord is starting up.
I'm happy to do that, David.
Yes.
What's your stats?
Okay, so intelligence rating of A,
Yep.
recon of F.
But then +2, did you say, Darren?
Yes.
Yep.
1 success.
Yes, thank you very
Right.
much.
So let me roll here. Oh. Wow. There's a radio,
Oh,
like a modular radio that was bolted to the ceiling roof of the cab in, like, military style. And amazingly, it didn't get destroyed. It's not powered, of course.
okay.
And it looks like it looks intact.
Oh, Lunk's sort of picking up that one and going, sweet, look at this. Nice find, Hillbilly.
And these military radios, some of them have ranges up to like 3 to 5 hexes or even beyond.
Is this man portable, I assume?
You carry it. It's not light. It's it's a pretty big unit. Probably weighs 12 pounds, 15
Big
pounds.
CB type thing, okay.
Yeah, I think a big military unit, so it's well built and heavy duty. That's probably why it is intact.
Might be worth keeping with us at least until we rest, and then someone uses a shift on the radio at night. And then make
Absolutely.
a decision from there.
Well, unfortunately, the battery is missing from the truck vehicle. The radio requires power. Of course.
Yeah.
If it works, like you just have it. You're not even sure if it works, but it looks intact. It's like, oh.
I'll see if I can rig something up from the current radio we have.
Oh yeah, we've got. So Lunk just says to, Hillbilly says to Lunk, so are you going to lunk that around with you? And he gives himself a little chuckle. He says so.
Nice.
Yeah, Lunk will smile at that, and he's just chuffed to bits that he's got this.
Hillbilly's eyes are dashing from left to right, and he's looking towards Grady, who's acting as spotter. He said, I think we spent enough time here. We made a lot of noise. Time to move.
Yeah, Grady nods. Let's get out of here.
Okay, people.
And they're off.
Yep.
That radio takes up 2 slots, by the way.
Okay.
Whoever's carrying it.
Oh, Lunk will carry that one.
All right, and enter the forest. And as I last time I gave some description and whatnot, and there are areas of Poland that do have some large tracts of forest, and particularly in the areas that lead up to the Carpathian Mountains. They're far ways away, don't get me wrong, but you're at the footsteps. And so you're in hill country, forested. There's rivers and creeks that cut it, and the odd road, of course, and the odd village and town. But there are some tracks. And just so you go, I'll bring us to the other map so that we can get to the tactical decision here. And I'll zoom you guys in. So you, everybody should be able to see that now. You estimate that the two hexes, the one to the southwest and south, they will be heavy forest. Like it'll be really slow going. Like you'll be halved your speed basically. It'll take you
Sorry,
two.
Darren. I don't know if it's just me. I don't seem to be on the map
It's
page.
black.
Oh, pardon me. I
Got a
brought
fog of war
myself
on.
there.
There we go. Ah, there we go.
I brought myself, and then I was like, okay. So Radam is 20 kilometers behind you ish, and as the two hexes that are forested, you estimate are heavily forested here, with the odd village and hill and road. But these hexes are only 10 kilometers, remember? So anyhow, your decision, I think last time you said you were going to head into the forest.
Hillbilly's saying, time to move, got to get out of here. Which direction?
South.
Will that eventually lead to another town, do you reckon?
There's a town southeast of here, maybe 20, 30 clicks. But we got to be careful because there's a lot of fallout.
I don't want nothing to do with that. And Hillbilly just coughs, and you remember he looks a bit pale. We should stay well clear of it. It's bad news, radiation.
Yeah. Yeah, we need somewhere to maybe resupply. Definitely resupply and pick up some intel.
So if we maybe get into the forest and then sort of scout the town from there, is that sort of a base point?
Mm-hmm.
Town, are we talking about Skarziesko Kamiana? Is that where we're heading?
That's the place. Yes, nice pronunciation.
Okay.
Very much so. And Kielce, which is just south of that town, is a larger, it could be a city, and it was kind of like a gateway to the Carpathians, you know, south. And so you guys are heading south into the forest, and you enter the area. It's slow going, as I said. Sometimes you follow a track or a game trail or a road, but they're mostly washed out and trees laying across them and such. 7 years of neglect has taken its toll. Some have even can become overgrown. You move for about 4 or 5 hours, I'd say, when, pardon me, and during this time, you hear the odd birds and such, and there is signs of life in the forest. Some of the trees, but you did notice there is signs of death. About 1 in 4 trees is a dead twig, from probably radiation and so on, of course. And you come across, in the forest itself, you find several irregular pits of varying depth reveal themselves, and you cautiously look and you wait for a second and scan, and there doesn't appear to anybody, and it doesn't appear anybody's been here for a while, but they're probably foxholes. And as you creep a bit forward, check it out, the deeper ones have remnants of MREs, which are like rations, and a few brass casings and other detritus, while the shallow ones evidence rusted sea rat cans melding with the earth and speak of a world war prior to this. It seems that soldiers died for this same plot of land a half century apart, maybe much longer. And it's kind of poignant to see that there's an old battlefield from World War II mixed with a recent. It just gives everybody a bit of a eerie sense, and you move on. There's nothing to scrounge here. It was just a strange old, and you've seen stuff like this before, and you pass by it. And then moving further, where was that? I lost my sheet I've been looking for. Darn it. Anybody have anything they want to add at the moment? Before I find my...
Hillbilly's very quiet. He's sort of man on a mission. He's looking to get somewhere to hunker down for the night so he can hopefully take care of his medical needs.
Grady's stomach is starting to rumble, so he's on the lookout for food.
Gotcha.
Very preoccupied.
And pardon me, I just need one moment here. It's one of those cases of disappearing.
So what time is it now? It's getting towards 5, 6.
Right.
It's getting dark, or it is dark? It is dark, right?
It gets dark now.
What time of year is it?
Yeah, it was summer.
Oh, okay, so summer, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Still got daylight.
Hillbilly's noticing the trees stripped by radiation and dying foliage, and he's in bad direction.
Yeah, should we be worried about this? I mean, this is making me a bit nervous as well. I've been exposed somewhat.
It's bad news, man.
We
Shouldn't be heading this way.
What can we see in the other directions, Darren? What's kind of visible in the distance? The other directions there.
Oh, it's pretty. You're in the thick of the forest, and once in a while you catch a glimpse of. You get a little bit of a view on the odd outcropping and clearing, but really view is quite limited to very little. And you haven't spotted anything besides forest and the odd road and any burnt out shell, perhaps, of a small village.
Do we know the lay of the land? Because I don't want to meta think. So, for example, would we know there's a river to the west and so on? I don't know. Presumably, we know roughly where we are, and we've seen maps previously.
Yes, and there's still a possibility of actually losing your way, though. Even in the forest, at least you probably have a compass and so on, so you'll always find direction. But I'll need a recon roll from one of your party, whoever is kind of leading the way. Just to see if you progress to the next area or you get kind of lost and have to backpedal and don't get any distance.
I'm terrible at recon, so I'd suggest somebody else.
I've got a B and a C, so
Maybe probably the best one.
And I've drawn a card for this movement shift, by the way.
can I push that? No.
No.
We're lost. It's this radiation. It's throwing me off.
Yeah, and the compass reading is like,
It was an awful roll.
yeah, the compass reading is wonky, and you realize that you didn't really, you're like, but as you realize that, you move into an area now, and it's still forested. However, there is a somewhat part clearing. There's where two kind of roads meet in a Y intersection, and there's a couple a small couple burnt out buildings. But you'll notice that there must have been a major tank battle took place here. It looks like a while ago, months, perhaps longer ago. And you hunker down and you're probably about 100 meters away, and you see dozens of burnt out battle tanks, like main battle tanks, litter this area. And there's debris everywhere, like turrets blown off, scattered parts, and all sorts of battlefield stuff.
Can we see any of the tanks at all which are sort of partially still complete on that, or are they all smashed to smithereens? Or
there are also some APCs as well, and armored personnel, and a couple BTRs and such like that. You would have to go into the battlefield and search. Roughly, they look pretty rough shape. Like and it's happened a while ago. So chances are somebody's been here, but who knows?
And
Nobody's here
presumably,
right now. It doesn't look like anyone's here right now. You're looking around. You can give me a recon roll, actually, Grady, if you would, just to like I'm assuming you're scanning the area and everybody's sort of on the tree line looking at this gutted tiny little village.
Success.
And there's railroad tracks, by the way. It looks like one column or something, or they was coming down the railroad tracks when it was, when this battle took place. Two forces collided.
Oh, maybe we can find a battery for that radio you're lunking around. Got to be something in one of these vehicles.
Mm.
What
Which way do
directions? Go ahead.
Which way do the railway tracks go? West and east?
East-west, yeah. And they
Right.
just, cut right through the forest and
is there a
Maybe
road,
this is.
is it a road as well as the track?
it goes beside the road. Now you guys came down so that you're perpendicular to the tracks. They're on the other side of the road. I don't have a map for this. It's sort of theater mind, of course.
I'm thinking we found home sweet home for tonight, and then maybe in the morning we follow the railroad tracks. It'll certainly make easier going.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Find the
I
most
guess-
intact vehicle. Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grady. Go on, man.
That's right. I was just going to say west, I guess.
Agreed. Maybe spend a bit of time here. Should at least be able to get that radio up and running, and who knows, if we're lucky, maybe one of these beauties will still run. And he taps on like one of the AP, like Rex of an APC, as you do. He just says that.
So you're going to go for it. You can decide now if you want to go into the battlefield and scrounge. Let me know any precautions or who's posting up or anything like that, so everybody can declare who's taking what role. And eventually, I guess you'll start to gravitate towards your group roles. I'm assuming Grady's already kind of the scout sniper, of course, and so on, and the mechanics and the obvious parts.
So what's Grady's opinion? Does he think it's a fairly safe area? Are we safe at the moment, Grady? Have you not spotted anything? Or
You see no sign, Grady, of anything except for a dog.
Mm.
And it's you see it come wandering down the railroad tracks. It looks kind of skinny, a bit scrawny. It looks like it could have been a German Shepherd at one point.
Yeah. Well, it seems dead except for the dog, but I mean, want to be careful. These dogs don't roam in packs, right?
Could be rabid as well. Maybe the dog should be dead as well, Grady. Want to put a bullet in it? Better safe than sorry.
I can do. Do we want to make noise?
How far away is the dog? Sorry, Dan.
Probably about 150 meters. It's coming down. You see it come down the tracks, and it's sniffing the tracks and wandering back and forth. It's probably looking for food.
I've heard
it has
just...
it has a collar on as
Oh.
well. You notice it was a domestic dog at one point or something.
I mean, I've heard there's not bad eating in dog. But...
Oh, and yeah, this hillbilly's kind of frowns. I'm not eating no goddamn dog. We're not that desperate yet.
Okay. I'm about 2 shifts away from being desperate. Your call. I can take the dog out, or we can let it approach.
I don't think we should let it approach. Maybe if it gets within 50 meters, pop it.
Okay.
Yeah. Slowly draw the silencer out of one pocket and draw my pistol and start screwing the silencer up.
Yeah, I nod appreciatively at the silencer.
Yeah, a treasure now in these times, if ever. Anyone else? Who's going to go into the battlefield, if anybody? And you could go around the whole thing if you wanted, but
I mean, if someone wants to scrounge, I'll keep kind of watch over it.
I think maybe, well, Hillbilly will go in. He's got the scrounger speciality. He's also good with tech. So I think that makes sense. Just caution against unexploded munitions, though. Could be anything buried in the mud.
Perhaps if we pair up, one scrounges and the other keeps some cover.
now, Ben, I am glad Hillbilly said that. As you guys go into the area and start to look at the better looking vehicles, the ones that at least have the turret still on them and so on. And there's some that are upside down. You see a couple that have plowed into each other, in desperation sort of thing or whatever. And who's scrounging?
Hillbilly will. Yeah.
Okay,
so anybody else wants to as well.
Now I'll give you your mechanic roll for scrounging mechanical stuff, but I do need you to give me a recon roll. As you go in, you did spot I think it's an M114 armored personnel carrier that amazingly looked fairly intact. There was some shell damage and on the outside and such, but you went to that and you're checking it out and you look inside and you kind of gag a little bit as you notice there are 3 corpses in it.
No successes on my recon. Can I push that?
I don't.
No, I don't think you can push recon, can you?
Now, I know you can't if like you're reconning, like if somebody's ambushing you or something. If it's passive, you can't. Now I might have. This is fairly important.
Okay.
Because you may have detonated an unexploded ordnance.
I'll push it then, please.
I know, that's what let's spend a moment then. Okay, Ben, I'm going to pull up my referee book here. And this would be on recon. Where would I find that? Actually, that would probably be players.
I'll look for it myself as well.
Skills and specialties. Pardon me, everybody. This is fairly important because if you failed that and can't push it, you're pushing your roll. Okay. Now, if you get a result of a 1, you can't push a 1, by the way. I just know it. I remember that, just so everyone knows. Exemption when you cannot. Okay, passive rolls. You can only push rolls, skill rolls when you actively perform an action. When passive or unaware, for example, when rolling recon to see if you spot a sneaking enemy or when someone uses persuasion on you.
I was being active though, because I did say check for unexploded
I know, and
munitions.
when you said that, because I'll give you the push, okay, Ben, because you said that. You were actually, you were looking for those exact things.
And 1 success.
Okay, and you just feel quite lucky as you almost stepped on what appears to be, a big shell that's just sitting there, kind of, and it would have been a C explosion.
Hillbilly's hand goes up and the signal for everybody to stop. And he kind of like, just as he puts his, about to put his heel down, he kind of stops mid-step and drops to the right slightly, just avoiding this shell sticking out of the mud. He just looks back at the others, points down, says, "Told you so."
Yeah, and so everyone else can when they make their recon, they get plus 1 if they're going to scrounge.
Yep, look at the ground around my feet cautiously.
Yeah. So now give me a tech roll, Billy. As you're looking at, and you gag though, like, I don't know, you take a stress point, Billy, because there's 3 bodies in here that are decomposed and died violently. And so you can just imagine, of course, but you realize that it's fairly intact. In fact, these 3 bodies may have prevented somebody from coming in here and looting the thing or whatever, perhaps. So you see that there's, You're looking around and you're
So
holy.
tech roll, 1 success.
Yeah, the keys are in it, and there's the ignition button, and you look around and you see that the outside of this thing's been stripped. There is some crates of spoiled food in here, and it stinks horribly, of course. The bodies, thankfully, it's been about 6 months since this battle, so the bodies are, well, more or less dried up now and been picked at by crows and other vermin, whatever could get in here. Now, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about for a APC. It's an American APC. Like, it looks like a big fridge on tracks. Normally it would have light armaments, perhaps a 50 cal on the top, but this one doesn't. You hit the button to start it, but it turns over amazingly. But it kind of just does this click. And then every time you hit the button again, it goes click, 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 click. And you know that's there's no power.
Hillbilly's signaling back to the others. We hit the mother lode here. Maybe we can get some wheels. It's going to take some work, but this baby should move again.
Okay. How long?
Needs a battery and fuel, I'm sure, but so many wrecks around here. So one of them must still have some juice in them, right?
Okay.
Now the dog. Meanwhile, you poked in and you poked your head out and go, hey, I think I'm on the mother lode. And then you see Grady's like, oh, yeah, right on. And he waves. And there's not much else in the battlefield. Everything else is burnt out and almost, some of the tanks burned so hot that there's like molten trails coming out of them. You know what I mean? When their ammunition went and so on. So the dog, by the way, has heard and kind of smelled or sensed you at this point. And it stopped, and it's just waiting. It sits down on the tracks and just it looks at you with at the noise and the sound with a tilted head. And it's about 100 meters away. And Grady, you're kind of looking at it once in a while, just keeping an eye on it. But it did stop, and it sits on the tracks.
Can we tell if it looks rabid?
From here, it's hard to tell. It looks skinny, and it's not acting erratic. Like from what you've seen, rabid dogs, they.
I'll use my binoculars to see if I can spot anything dodgy about it.
Okay, yeah. Give me a recon. No, actually, you don't need recon. Oh, you look at it and you see it's a scarred old dog. It's just sitting there and its tongue's hanging out now. It's kind of lolling a bit. Doesn't have any obvious telltale signs of illness.
Hillbilly looks at Mary and says, I know what you're thinking, but it's just another mouse to feed.
Thinking of putting it out of its misery.
I read you wrong then.
But yeah, you're right. It is just another mouth to feed. We'll just ignore it.
Yep, and it sits there and then it lays down on it and it just lays on the tracks, kind of just staring ahead. It seems perhaps it was going that direction and now it seems like a cautious dog. Meanwhile, Hillbilly, you're still in your new find. You're kind of grinning now, and you can look in the back and look at the mechanics of it, or you can decide whatever you want to do. David, during this time.
I think we might have lost David for the moment.
Oh, that's why I haven't heard him for a bit. I was like, let's see what David's up to and his lunk.
Yeah, because he's a mechanic, right? Because
yeah,
here's what I'm thinking. We stay here. We try and get this APC fixed up. We've got a radio to mount in it. Siphon fuel from the other vehicles if there is any. And then we're I don't know, hopefully good to go. We've got two people that are pretty good with tech, Hillbilly and Lunk, and I don't know if anybody else is, so hopefully there's a fair shout.
Yeah, not good at tech.
Okay.
Unreasonable.
So now we come to a point, if you're staying for 5 to 10 hours, it's now about 5 o'clock, 6 in the evening. And so this is considered the evening shift. And then the last one is called night shift, I think. Yeah. So we're going to be entering the evening shift, and you can, depending on how long you guys take, let's start with 5 hours. What you're going to be doing is, well, you've already told me somewhat, scrounging and gathering any goodies to help you out.
Does everyone agree, or do people think this is a bad idea and we should move on?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
We'll search everything, everyone scrounge.
So if everybody scrounges, everybody gets a recon roll at +2. Hopefully you don't have any run-ins with a unexploded ordnance. And then you could flag them like with a stick or something if you find something. Maybe there's nothing else. Maybe that was it.
So if those guys are scrounging, rather than that, can I start to do some tech to try and repair the vehicle? I don't know if we need to scrounge first to find parts.
Okay, so make a tech
make a start.
It doesn't have fuel, and it doesn't have power. The battery is dead.
So they're the instructions Hillbilly gives to the others: fuel and juice. Oh, Brady's done well.
3 successes.
Now, this is a stretch to see if you luck out and actually find some here. You may have to go afield to find fuel and power, right? So most of these are complete write-offs, but there are some that have potential. So you go around tapping fuel tanks, and carefully you've made all your rolls. Nobody blew their foot off or anything, I'm assuming.
No, I don't. Sorry, Darren. I don't think I was moving again. I'll just stay with the... Well, I don't know. Do I need to do a tech roll now, or should we scrounge first?
I'm going to get you to give me a tech roll, because you're going to be spending time seeing if this thing is fully operational. You might need to fandangle more parts and stuff. All you know is that it's out of power and juice so far.
It could be shouting out things for us to look for specifically.
So give me a tech roll, and this one's just a...
3 successes.
3 successes. All right, the radiator has a hole through it, which will be an issue, of course, eventually. But that's fixable, so you yell out, and you might be able to make a tech roll to see if you can fandangle it even, right? Come up with something. You're the mechanic. So Grady, if you could give me a scrounge, like recon, to see if you find what he's asking, if you find any fuel or a battery.
Another one? Another recon roll?
Oh, did you? Yeah, because the first one was to see if ordnance, and this one is to see how lucky you are. Now this one is a -2.
It's a -2.
Yes, because it's...
Nope. Wow.
Okay, you don't find a working battery or fuel.
Only show... Okay, because the -2 negates the C, does it?
That's right. You actually lose a die if you go below the D dice. Because you were -2, right? No. Your rating was a... okay, so... Yeah, because if you were at 10, you would have went to... Oh, wait, shouldn't you be rolling a 6 on the one? -2, how...
Yes, C's a D8, isn't it? So down to a D6,
so it
down to
drops
nothing.
down to 6.
And for some reason, it rolled a D10. It dropped your D12.
Am
I correct?
To a...
Oh, B is a D10.
So, okay, what we should
so maybe
do a
it just
reroll.
Did it drop it just off the first?
It's right. It's done it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't find any fuel or battery. Is anybody else with scrounging can roll? If they're looking specifically for that, it's -2 roll.
-2. Oops.
And Grady, you already looked. And then David, we'll assume he's posted up and keeping a lookout for the moment while he's absent, unless you guys want to delegate him to do something else.
No, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it's that military training always kicks in. Have somebody always watch.
No. 0.
So unfortunately, there is. You think you can get this thing going if you have some fuel and power. What you'd give for a battery right now?
Or a couple of horses.
A couple of horses. Turn this thing into a wagon. So that.
Wait, you said there were some burnt out houses as well.
Oh, and you did find a couple. Roll a D4 for how many MREs you find that aren't spoiled in that APC.
Oh, Ben.
I think you're on mute, Ben.
Sorry, schoolboy error. D4, Darren, sorry.
Right, yeah. And then that's how many
3.
MREs, right? Military ready meals. Why are they called MRE?
Meal ready
meals
to
ready.
eat.
Yeah.
Ready to eat. Oh, okay, got it. I'm missing an acronym here.
Yeah, they missed the T out.
3. Who's low on food? Grady, I know you are, so he throws Grady 1.
Cool. Nice.
Mary, what's your food like?
Just a quick look in a satchel. I got 2 food, 3 water.
You're the same as.
Forgive me, Hillbilly. Now during this shift, if you make another successful tech roll, you'll have fixed the rad. If you want to spend the remainder working on that, like you took the rad out, you actually, found parts to cut off that section of the rad. You did an old trick from the Hillbilly days, when your rad on the old Ford would get a hole in it because your uncle was drunk hunting with you again and accidentally shot his rifle in the cab that one day. And went through the engine compartment, punching a hole through the rat. And you guys found that gum makes a great sealant and so on.
Yep, so I do that and it drags the bodies outside and trying to spruces this thing up a little bit. But yeah, 2 successes.
So you think the rad should hold. You've got it up to basically a C reliability. So the vehicle you estimate right now, the vehicle itself has a C reliability as it sits. You couldn't find any other major things wrong with it. You think like, there's some aesthetic damage, there's some bullet holes, and there's a big shell went right through the whole thing, and that's what probably decimated it. There's a big hole in one side and out the other. It just went right through it. Poof. Probably a sabot round or something, right? Fired at 7,000 feet per second or whatever, and just eviscerated everybody. And you can carry like a full squad in here. Like it's actually, if you go to page, I think I lost it now.
I think I've got it on 116.
Right. So if you do have a player's guide, you actually might have a picture, right?
Yeah. Shall I share?
Which one is it? The M113? Oh, something on the page.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant.
Sorry, wrong one.
Yeah, the M113 APC. It is the old standby U.S. Let me have a look here. So fuel capacity, what that means, fuel consumption, that's how many liters on the road per shift that it consumes. Now that's in prime condition. That's on the road driving. Now that's doubled. Now you also have the option to convert this to alcohol.
Oh, okay, and then we can build a still, but for that we need a base of operations.
Right now, though, it needs diesel.
Yeah, if we ever get to somewhere we want to call home, that could be a plan.
It has no weaponry on it. It's It's got a lot of cargo space, 225 slots. I mean, you can put a lot of stuff in it. Two original crew, like sort of a gunner navigator guy and, you know, a co-pilot and a driver, and then plus 9, you can carry up to 11 people. Fuel type D diesel. And it's armored decently. It can withstand small arms. Anything bigger than that, though, you know, even a 50 cal can withstand. Speed-wise, that is how many, hexes in a shift, on or off-road, and so on. Reliability of this one, though, is a C at this time.
Yeah, so Hilbert is saying, I think this tractor will move, but yeah, no juice around here. He said to Mary, right, maybe we should check out the farmstead over there. We need a place to sleep for the night.
Yeah, cellar might be best. Okay.
And what time would it be, Darren? Is it like, what, 9, 10 p.m. now or something?
Yeah, now it's actually gotten later, because you did a shift, and during that time you fixed the rad, you got this thing kind of in running shape, you hope, and you scavenged for parts, you found a few MREs, you looked around. The dog has been patiently, it walked away a little ways down the road, and then it slinks around the outside, like it starts going around the perimeter of the kind of the battlefield, staying at about 100 meters, 75, 100 meters from where you guys are in the battlefield. And it seems to be kind of slowly making its way around you guys and sniffing around the ground and moving on.
Good.
Yeah, I think we ignore it. Okay.
Yeah. Check out the buildings.
Well, check out the buildings or sleep in the APC.
The dog starts to bark.
Mm.
And you look at it, whoever, like, and Lunk is pointing, and the dog is barking away from you. It's barking towards some trees on the other side, southeast of you.
Okay, take cover.
Yeah, I'll try and see what it's barking at.
I guess nobody has night vision, right?
No, oh, it's dark now, is it?
Mm. I wonder whether we just like drop inside the APC and hide.
Yeah, that's what I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any way of kind of poking the head up and just kind of keeping an eye?
There's a hole in the side of it, isn't there? We can maybe look out this shell hole.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, as you're doing that, you guys are moving positions. You see that some figures come out of the tree line, and the dog itself gives a bit of a yelp after it starts barking and runs back the way it came around the perimeter, as you see what appears to be a pack of dogs chase after it. They break from the tree line, and there's probably about probably eight or 10 of them, and they're barking and yelping, and these ones are acting like real mean and going after that dog.
Hilbert is used to animals. He grew up on a farm, so he's not too worried. He just taps the APC and says, "She may not be beautiful, but one thing's for sure: no tooths getting through her. I think we're sleeping here for tonight."
And you don't know what happens. The dog tears off down the railroad tracks, and these dogs chase after it, barking. And you let it go, and it's gone. And you guys hunker down, and you're going to take a shift of rest. And then that will take us through the evening, or night shift, because we're now in evening. And anybody wants to do anything besides rest?
Yeah, I'd like to try and give some medical aid for myself for this pneumonia. use
So if
some of
you
my
spend this
antibiotics.
shift, yeah, if you end up this shift putting on a drip with
Mhm.
like antibiotics and let it go for like a couple hours and really take care of it, you can make a medicine roll
Okay,
and see if you, get rid of it, this
let's do that then.
infection.
Is everybody happy hunkering down in here for the evening? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's fine. Just make sure we're locked in, I guess.
Oh shit! No successes. Can I push that?
Yes, but I'd say you have to use another thing of medicine.
Fine. Okay, I'm going to go for it though.
Okay.
That'll be both my antibiotics gone after this. One success.
Okay, so you kind of purge yourself and give yourself a double dose and just in case. And I just did so the time ticks by and the snores start to come through inside here. And is anybody taking guard?
I mean, how does it work? Can we rotate a watch or something? Or do you have to like be resting for the whole lot of it?
This one you're supposed to rest. It's like that. You're either resting or somebody's watching. Because if you take a shift, then you don't get a full rest.
And what's the mechanic if you don't get rested?
That's things like start to happen where you don't heal, you don't get stress points back. You start to and then if you go 1 week, you start to take damage without food. And if you take 1 day without water, you take damage.
Okay, but 1 night without rest probably isn't too bad.
No, that you can go 1 without, and then it starts to have an effect. If you take 2 in a row, you do suffer. You start taking stress points and stuff.
Dice and stuff. Okay.
I'll look it up again.
Well, I'll probably keep watch then for tonight. The rest the next one.
Brilliant. Thanks, Barry.
Okay, so I drew another card for this shift, and just a metagame for you, I actually drew a card that doesn't have a little campfire on it. So that means that nothing happens. There's nobody comes in through or anything. Now, if you had not been camping, let's say in this card was a Queen of Diamonds. It had a road, a sunshine, and a moon, so it could take place at night, day on the road hex. And this one would have been a unit of Soviet soldiers to set up a roadblock with a BTR-70 and so on.
That's why we need an APC, smash straight through the middle.
Yeah, there you go. Perhaps, RPG. So it's quite an uneventful evening. It's actually quite peaceful. And in the morning, I don't know who was on your shift for watching.
Yeah, I was watching.
All right. It's been very quiet. And to your surprise, when the dawn comes, it's about 6 in the morning-ish, 5-ish, and you see the dog.
Yeah.
And it apparently survived and came back, and the other dogs aren't there. And it's sitting in the same spot on the railroad tracks.
Super dog.
Resilient little.
It's a tough little bugger.
And it's
Maybe
chewing
it's-
something. It's munching on something.
The other dogs. It's a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's earned Hillbilly's respect a little bit more now. So are we all up now? I take it. And sorry, just before we move on,
Yeah,
Darren,
you're waking
do
up
we
everybody.
recover stress?
Yes. You did not rest though. No, I'll give you your stress. Yeah, you recover stress because you were actually doing medicine and helping yourself. And anybody who else had a stress point can gain one or lose it. And of course, if you're injured, you will recover a health point every shift you rest.
Yeah, good. Yeah, my ankle's feeling a lot better now. Gentlemen.
And it is now the morning shift starting, and so you can decide whether you're going to eat for the day and drink.
Yeah, I'm going to eat and drink.
And then, of course, minus the appropriate rations and water.
So I had 3 rations, right? So one was to Grady. Oh yeah, I'll give everybody one. Well, I don't know how many Lunk's got. Dave's going to go out of luck because he's not here. So one for Grady, one for Mary, and one for Hillbilly. From those 3 that I found in the APC.
That's what Grady eats. Certainly beats dog food.
Speaking of dog food, Hillbilly, he'll be sat there back against this APC, eating his MRE that he's found, and he breaks off a piece of like meat, this kind of reprocessed, reconstituted meat from the MRE, seeing the dog further down this battlefield. He kind of just gives a low whistle and beckons the dog towards him, palm outstretched with this morsel of food to see if the dog takes it. Now, he will be checking for signs of rabies if it gets closer, but so far he feels like it doesn't appear to be rabid from what you can gather.
So the dog's ears just go boink right away, and his head comes up like and perky, its ears, and it had been eating some carcass of some small prey. You guess you see fur and something, maybe a rabbit or something like that. And its ears perk up, boink, and then it reaches down and it grabs the carcass, and it comes toward you, and quite fearless, and comes up about a few meters from you, puts the carcass down, and jumps back and forth with its ears up, and then you're holding your hand out with the food, and it kind of tentatively comes forward, and you can see it was indeed eating a rabbit. And it had pretty well consumed most of this big hair, but it comes forward and takes your offering of food and sits down and eats it kind of quite happily and kind of looking around, nom, 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 gulp, and sits there just looking after you like almost like more, and head tilts to the side, and you don't see any sign of disease or anything, and somehow it evaded those dogs. It doesn't have any injuries on it or anything. It does look haggard, though. This dog has been on its own for a long time, you sense. And it's probably the first act of kindness it's seen, perhaps.
What's on its tag? Can you read it?
Hillbilly will offer another little bit of food, and as the dog takes it, just like gently grab the collar and look at the tag as Grady suggests.
It's got some numbers. And also on the other side, it has a word, probably its name, Paco.
Paco. Resilient little bugger, aren't you?
P-O.
Hillbilly says. He kind of scratches the dog behind its ears. I presume it's a boy, it's a male dog.
Yep. And it's a pretty nice, a German Shepherd. Its fur is, of course, like I said, a bit matted, but it seems healthy and scarred. And you find like you go to get up and move or go take a piss or something, and it kind of follows you a bit and sits down close near you. And you seem to have gotten a new friend, perhaps.
Hillbilly looks up to Grady. Maybe we've got a new scout, Grady.
He's welcome to it.
Definitely a good idea to have a guard dog. An alarm.
Good thinking, yeah. Maybe we can both get some sleep tomorrow night if old Paco here's around.
Yeah. Well, actually, when Grady hears that and considers it, he offers a little bit more food.
And the dog seems happy. It's like the good old days. It seems well trained as well, highly trained. And you realize that this thing might have been a police dog. Like the tag on it has sort of that official sort of stamp on the one side with the numbers. It's sort of got like a little sort of badge and such.
Yeah, Hillbilly's decided Paco's coming with them.
And it's up to Paco, yeah, it seems.
So he looks up. Back on mission. We still need fuel and a battery for this thing, and he taps the APC that is sat against. Where was that town you were talking about, Mary?
Back that way, the way it seems to be getting more and more radiation.
Were there buildings like
Completely
close
gutted.
by, or? Okay.
Yeah, those buildings there were about 4 or 5, a couple barns and such, but they're completely gutted.
So everybody says, I think this baby's worth investing in. We've got to find a battery and fuel and get it back here. I think it's worth the risk.
Okay, that works with me. So Mary gets a map out and just has a quick guesstimate on how long.
And
Well, if we're set up now, I think we'll maybe take us half a day to get there.
And as Mary's doing that, Grady goes, sorry, not Grady, but Hillbilly goes back into the APC and he removes one of the HT leads, disabling it, but obviously like an easy fix. So when he gets back and just pushes this HT lead into his pack, no one else is taking this puppy.
So we have the dog is happy and everyone's eating their rations or meals, what have you. Now there happens to be that rabbit. Well, the dog seems to like the rabbit, what's left of it. But there is a couple rations there. You realize what's left of it.
And what is it? It's like just a bone
now,
or something.
Yeah. Well, there's some meat on it and stuff. You were desperate. I mean, you guys technically didn't go into the next hex because you had gotten kind of lost. So you didn't proceed from the previous. You're in still in the southern part of that ambush hex. You follow? You're still where you are.
Oh, okay.
Right, because you got lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a fortunate loss, though.
Yeah, it was, because when I rolled, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the railroad tracks go east and west. So if you want, you can go into the southeast or southwest hex, or you can keep going south the way you were into that, cross the railroad tracks and enter the forest to the south.
I mean, whatever's the best chance of getting the battery, I guess.
I think it's the town, then, is it? I suggest we head to Skarzjetsko. And I don't know if we can do that along the railway tracks. Presumably the railway track leads to the town.
So that one first.
Oh, the track. Okay.
And then into that one.
Okay.
So the plan is to head south.
South.
Yeah.
The forest.
Try not to get lost this time.
He knew from David. We've still lost him, haven't we?
Yeah, unfortunately. I was going to take a short break before we start the next part. And before we do, is there anything anyone wants to do before we leave this battle scene? And prep. You're just leaving the M113 there for the moment.
But just to be clear, Hillbilly has disabled it, so he's taken the transmission leads out. So it can't be moved unless somebody else fixes it, of course. But he's tried to disable it, so that's not easy to do.
Do you want to put the bodies back in?
Yeah, I was going to actually suggest doing that. Or if not the bodies, the putrid smelling food.
No, I don't really want to put the bodies back in. Do we want to come back to putrefying bodies inside of our
Take another stress point?
Well, no, I think the bodies are quite desiccated, right? So
yes.
It was the food that was smelling the place up, I think.
Yeah, there's a bunch of MREs had finally broken down and rotted and such.
I don't know if it's just an effort to keep people away.
Yeah, if it's going to take us more time as well. So, yeah, I think if we're happy that Hillbilly's disabled it and say he's taken the leads that go from the alternator to the battery, put those in his pack.
Good call.
I think, could someone just quickly write something on a sign, like a skull and mines, and just stick it in the earth?
Oh, clever.
Just quickly shove it together.
Or I could do even better than that and actually put something together.
Actually make a mine. Yeah.
There is that shell, isn't there? Could you make a booby trap? I don't know if we want to spend much more time, but...
Yeah. Well, we don't want to do a booby trap to actual...
Yeah, if we come back and it's blown up, then it's still no good to us, the same as it's been stolen.
Yeah. Suggestion for later.
Yeah.
Good to know that you've got the skills, though.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we're okay. So besides saying mines beware and
Mhm.
taking the HT leads from it, I suggest we go with that.
Cold.
So you enter the forest and move south. And your plan is to go to that town and hopefully scrounge something and come
Yep.
back and get your APC running. That was a lucky card I rolled there for that.
Gives us a goal as well, which is nice. We've got an objective to work towards.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, true. And so you know the score. We have the point man or woman roll a recon for keeping you on the right direction and so on. Because sometimes there's a mountain in front of you, sort of thing, right? You're in the forestry kind of. There's valleys and gorges, and you've come to a couple dead ends before. So I'll be back in a few minutes, everybody. Let's take a short
Okay.
break, and
Okay.
part 2 will begin.
Cool.
Darren, I'm not sure if you've got some sort of loose cable or something, but your screen's gone green again.
Oh, my my Zoom screen.
Yeah, your video, video feed. I've noticed it happened before. I don't know what it is.
Interesting. As in right now, it's gone.
Yeah, it's there's like a green filter over everything.
Perhaps I would have to give one of you charge of this.
I mean, don't worry too much. It's
I'll just give you control just for now, and then I'll.
okay.
Did that correct?
No, you're still green.
Why would that be?
Maybe.
Still audio's working, but
Yeah, audio is fine. I'll just
resume recording, and then I'll share. Yeah, I just can't figure that out. That's quite odd. Oh, that way. Okay, that's better. All right, so into the bush, and you made the recon roll. Somebody for keeping me on the right track, so to speak. You had to leave the railroad tracks if you're heading south.
okay. Yeah, I think we want to go to the town.
Gotcha. And off you go. So that would be Grady, I think, is your point man.
Unfortunately,
I just go around in circles.
got a 1, so that's bad, right?
You're like, damn it. So this time I'm going to roll. You're going to move, but I'm going to roll to see which hex you actually pop into. So if you can roll, if you have a 3-sided, I could roll it if you don't or whatever. But
yeah, I'll just roll a 6 here, okay?
Sure.
And got a 1. So,
We're going to go bloody north.
so which direction do we think we're going in?
you think you're going south, but
Okay.
you're just entering forest. So I'm not even going to move the marker. I'm going to put you back. You have moved into it. Well, you're not sure.
We're definitely heading towards the town.
Come on, Grady. The sun's like rises in the east and sets in the west.
He does know you're going southish, but the thing is, he screwed up. And what happened, Grady? There was some obstacle, or what happened?
I don't know. It's sometimes I get mixed up between east, west, north, south thing.
Oh, the red end of the needle is north. That's right.
Yeah.
And excellent. So, but anyway, you do after moving, and it's now morning. So this is a shift that'll go roughly till noon, high noon. You come into a valley where it's fairly flat, and there's farms and such. There's still forest around, and there's still chunks of forest. That has that European look, right, you guys? But here it's a bit patched up with some farms and such. And there's at one time a bit of a road, and you can see up ahead a kind of little, a large farm, made up of multiple farms. So a little community, let's say. Can't really even call it a village. It's kind of largely intact though, probably because it was in this valley, kind of in the middle of nowhere in the forest, right? So it's surprisingly intact. There is a string of craters going across one section of it, you notice though, where some big airstrike for some reason long ago put down a huge payload like a B-52, right? A wing of B-52s dropped a payload here for whatever reason, if this was a target or not. But so about half of it's sort of stripped by that, but the rest has intact buildings. You can go around it if you wish, take a bit of time, or you can head into it.
Well, take a bit of time and observe it first, I guess. See if there's any.
And you have binoculars, so you can make a recon roll with normal, not -2. And anyone else want to do anything while he's scoping it out, or she?
Yeah, Hillbilly agrees. He's saying one thing farms have is diesel. One thing we need is diesel. So
yeah, a godsend. Do we have anything to trade?
1 success.
1 success. You're looking, and surprisingly, you see a couple chickens wandering around this place, but you don't see any other signs of life, like no other animals grazing or whatnot. But it seems very quiet. There's some birds flying around, so nothing's disturbed the area for a while. But
No
you can't really make out much else.
No smoke from the chimneys?
No smoke. No.
is Paco the dog still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Paco needs a ration. Oh, but he has his deer, his rabbit. So he ate it all though. He pigged out.
I'm thinking Paco might want a chicken.
I want a chicken.
I'm wondering if we can maybe skirt around and come at this from a couple of different sides, and if possible, encourage Paco to go down and be scout, basically. If somebody lives here, right, and the dog's going down trying to grab a chicken, someone's going to come out, I would have thought.
Now you, Hillbilly, you've realized that the dog is highly trained and it listens to commands. Like when you say heel, the friggin' dog heels. And you say stay and it stays. It's like impressive. You're like, wow, watch this, guys, and you put a piece of ration on its nose and it sits there until you say eat, or you figured out what sort of commands. So bear that in mind. And Hillbilly, it seems to kind of gravitate to you, but it moves around the group. Anyone who's friendly to it or pets it and stuff, it loves pets, and it's been a while since it's had a human infection, but it's bonded a bit with Hillbilly. So you have to treat it as a bit of like a player character in a way.
Okay.
It has three hits.
Okay, so Paco, 3 hit points. Grady's our sniper, right? So I don't know if Grady wants to maybe take up a good vantage point.
Yep. Can find somewhere suitable to.
Mary's in civilian clothes. Yeah, I wonder if Mary could play a damsel in distress.
Look sideways. Yeah.
You can act, right?
Sure. Damsel. Nice.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, there's a new map. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Give me one moment. I have to.
Zoom out.
Oh gosh, this is sizable, isn't it?
It is. Oh shoot. Okay. Give me a moment. I drew a card and I've been reading frantically and doing setup and stuff. So everyone,
yeah, no
you can go with it, everybody. As somebody roll me a 4-sided, and this is the direction of the compass in which direction you come upon this place. You happen to come upon it.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll put it 1.
So you're coming from the north. Okay, so let me move you up there.
Okay, this is tree and
Well done, Grady.
Oh, there's like a cemetery there as well. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of community. Has that old European look to it. Now there's a hill here. I'm going to say that Grady, you went up to this hill, being the sniper guy, right, girl? And the other guys were with you, but then they can decide what to do. There's trees there, and up on this hill here, you see the burnt out shell of a big kind of castle house, European old school, and it seems to be fairly burnt out, destroyed. Now, if you could imagine, there is, down here, actually, you may not have seen the strike area, and I need to add a bit more of those. I just made this on the go real quick. Because down here is where there's this airstrike went through, and and just rack. You guys can see those, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the other buildings to the north of it on your side are intact. They're, let me look here. Some of them aren't, mind you. There's quite a few of them, as you noticed. And you're looking, the chickens were kind of just meandering in the street here. And ignore that horse there, that's not there. There's some other animals. You see, this is an old place, like an old town in an old part of Poland.
Are they friendly or not? So
yeah,
it feels like the hill's the best sniper spot, right? What's the range on Grady's rifle? I imagine it's fairly significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, each hex is 10 meters.
I imagine you could cover most of this with a sniper rifle, I would have thought.
Each hex is 10, isn't it? It's
because even an assault rifle would have, remember, short range on an assault rifle was 5.
I think it was 12 for short range. So that was,
Oh, so you got plenty. So by the time you go into medium range, you're obviously 24
yeah.
and 48 for long. So you can cover all of this, I would have thought. Does the hill give a vantage point over these trees, or would they obscure the vision down into the village? How high is this hill?
Your hill is high enough that you can see just these trees here kind of obscure your vision in the short run, if you follow. But at distance, you can actually see over top, and eventually you can see this area. And you can also have a pretty good view down the main street. There's actually an old church here that's surprisingly relatively intact and not burnt out. See the church there? It's probably 100 feet long. It's pretty, sizable. And it's an old church, of course, probably for 300 years old or something, an old cemetery.
Okay.
All right.
So here's what I think. So Grady on the hill up here, sniper rifle. Lunk's got his machine gun, right? Can he position up behind this building here? So he's got a vantage point straight down the road with the machine gun. Then somebody comes through these trees here. And potentially I don't know, either two people go through the trees or somebody else rounds and comes through the cemetery. But yeah, that's obviously, feel free if you want to do something differently. That's just a suggestion.
Okay, so the range is 10 on that, but still quite good.
Yeah, at least the trees will give us a lot of cover before we actually see anyone, if there's anyone there. So that makes sense. I'll go through the trees.
Okay. Don't fall over now.
Just try not to fall over, Mary.
Yeah, I'm not going to run anywhere in these hills.
Maybe Hillbilly and Paco will do the same, so we'll come through the trees. And can we put Lunk up here? I might have to move and do some stealth, but I think that sounds like a good position for the heavy machine gun. Getting a field of fire down into town. I guess what we should decide before we start executing this is if somebody does come out, like let's say there's some milkmaids and the farmer and whatever come out, how are we approaching this? Is it
friendly,
walk up and wave and say hello, or is it
yeah,
walk up and get them down on the ground with guns over onto them and then see what happens?
Friendly.
Okay, but obviously nobody knows Grade is here unless it goes bad.
Excellent.
Okay.
Everyone nods in agreement, and everybody gets pretty kind of serious a bit. And Grady, you've got your scope, you got your bipod out, and you're laying down. I'm assuming.
Yep.
And dialing in your scope, just looking at threatening points, areas if somebody could shoot from. If I was a sniper, where would I be? Your training kind of kicks in, so you can, while they move in, you can make another recon roll. And the others, you don't need any rolls at this point. You're being cautious with weapons out, I'm assuming. Now your backpacks are
left on the hill with Grady.
Left with Grady, okay. So you got the pack stashed there behind a log or something, we'll say.
Am I rolling a recon here with sniper ability or just general?
General.
Get a bonus for, okay.
Oh yeah, you'll get your bonus though if you're in sniper mode. So you're using your sniper training now, to visualize the battlefield and to look for threats and such.
Okay.
That's
no successes. Everything's good. We're good to go. We're good to go.
The chickens you watch them for a second, and they seem to be just kind of free ranging it. They're just moving around. And then when Lunk gets close, they kind of run away. And kind of, they run into the toward the center. Okay, hold on. I just have to answer a call here a minute, real quick, or answer a message. And, so yeah, you guys conduct this. So far, so good. Okay, message sent. So no David yet. Kind of slow rolling this a little bit, but all right, we'll have to carry on a bit. Everything's going well. Hillbilly Mary, you can now proceed to the other far side of the forest, and you merge out the other end, and you're looking, and to your kind of amazement too, you see behind this barn, there is a milk cow that you can see now, and it's standing there, and it possibly could be tethered to a post. And sure
What time
enough,
of day is it, Darren? Is it
there's a
around
stool
midday?
beside it, like somebody had been milking it. It's probably about mid-morning.
Okay. Hillbilly's advising caution. Somebody's definitely home.
Yeah, shall I go first?
So Lunk is in visual with Hillbilly. You're about 100 feet away, or 30 meters, and he's giving you a hand signal, right? You guys are in contact, and yeah, your call. Go ahead, Mary.
Did you say around the back of this building? Yeah.
No, this one here.
Milk cow's here, all right.
Yeah. There's a little hill here, by the way.
Okay.
Maybe if Mary stays in the tree line and comes down to here, and Hillbilly will move up behind the barn or the building here.
Okay.
So signals given, so go ahead. You can move your characters, and I'll stop you or let you know if anything's happened. And you guys are being sneaky. And now Lunk is moving up on the other side beside you, Hillbilly, I'll say. And he slips up along the ledge of that barn kind of building here, and he nods at you. And so Mary, you come around the side and you're looking, and you see appears to be a boy comes walking out of the barn and sits down on the stool and starts to milk the cow. He has a shotgun with him, a double-barreled shotgun.
Okay. I'm just going to wait.
Does this building we're beside have any windows? Is it a house? Is it a barn?
Can you ping that? Which one? Oh,
The one that we're behind. This one.
oh,
here.
that one. This one is a house. That is actually a house. And it's, Eastern European house, white walled with the tiled roof. Some of them have thatch, actually old school, so on. But you peek in, when you look in windows and stuff, you can see that this place doesn't look occupied. There's broken windows and there's kind of litter and debris around a bit. This doesn't look like anyone's been in this one for a while.
Okay.
I'm going to Mary will break cover and nonchalantly walk towards the boy.
All right, so nonchalantly, so you kind of just stand up and your gun is
tucked in my waistband behind me.
The boy seems pretty intent on his work. He's milking away, and as you get closer, you can move like toward. He's like on this side, right here, and you actually are moved. So you leave the forest and head toward him.
Yep.
And openly, and as you get to this hex here, some reason he perhaps senses something or whatever, and he
probably say hello in Polish to him when I get about there.
Okay, give me an empathy.
Hi. Empathy. Where's my courage go?
As you see in Polish, you say it obvious. I'm assuming.
Empathy and what? Anything?
He seems to be a young teen, and but he almost falls off his stool, and he reaches for the shotgun which he had propped against the barn.
Okay, hey, there's no need for that.
And he snatches it up, whirling with it towards.
Don't be silly.
And it's shaking a bit, and he's got the barrels pointing at you.
Okay, so I'll be looking. Is your mother and father around?
And he shakes his head back and forth. No.
You kick the bucket over. Can I? And I'll sort of slowly reach to stamp the bucket back up.
Shoot him! What are you waiting for? Shoot him! From inside the building, the barn.
Who said that?
It's another child's voice. It must be.
First of all, I'm a lady.
Yeah, shoot her! Shoot her! What are you waiting for? Oh, hillbilly, where had you gone and done while she had moved in and come out of the tree line? Because you had lost contact with Mary briefly, and then see her come out of the tree line, and then she's on the other side of the hill, so you could have moved somewhere, I'll assume.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I'd lost
Grady,
lost the line of sight, I would have maybe moved down a little bit. This part here, wondering if there's access to kind of a higher level on that. I guess I'll go and look.
So you grab your stuff and you leave the packs there on the hill hidden.
Yeah, I leave the packs hidden on the hill.
You head down to this ruined whatever building, kind of shrine or whatever, and then you see Mary walking toward this building, and then they're kind of your field of view is cut off as she goes around behind this mound. And so Mary, you're about here, and the boy's about here, and he's got that shotgun pointing at you. And
come on, point it to the ground. It could hurt someone.
And he's shaking, and
I'll try and persuade him then.
I'll give you another empathy roll. Actually, I'm trying to put my head in the mind and
persuasion.
Now you're not dressed in military garb necessarily, right? You're sort of more. How would you appear to him?
She's got some as a picture: black leather jacket, black gloves, white pants with tucked into her boots.
Are you attractive?
She's slightly over the hill, but yeah, I guess.
And
not as attractive as she was before the war broke out. She's a bit low on lipstick and eyeshadow and stuff.
But generally, you're not wart-faced, kind of.
No.
Yeah.
No,
you were, and they actually recruit into your agency. They look for attractive people and such too, right? Especially with females, because they train them to use that, of course. And so you recognize this young boy is just like, you realize he's reluctant to shoot you, probably because if you were a Soviet soldier or something, it would have been both barrels or something, right?
Yeah.
Then he's, who are you?
My name's Mary. We're sort of in the area, passing through.
Are you eaters?
By eaters, I presume you mean cannibals, but the answer is no.
Damn it, Sasha! You know what Mom and Dad said? And Sasha's like, the barrel comes up a bit again, and then it's not a soldier. It's not a eater. I don't think. It's a woman.
I'm not an eater. Bring your friend out. We can talk out here. Mind if I sit down?
You think it's a girl, a young girl, like a kid, and she won't show herself. She's in the building hiding.
What did your mom and pa say? Did they say to shoot women on sight?
And you feel a little flush goes over his face a bit. He's and he does lower the barrel now to your feet at least area. He goes, Mom and Dad have been gone a while now. I don't know if they're coming back. And he got his eyes almost tear up a little bit. They were supposed to come back. It was months ago.
Just you and your sister?
And his eyes narrow a bit. And he nods.
Asking. Yeah. Yeah, the whole world's gone to hell, kid. It's the way it is. Yeah. I think your ma and pa, were they going looking for fuel? Other survivors?
Food? He basically nods. And he's a bit of a scruffed up scamp of a skinny kid, but he seems he seems surprisingly well fed. Well, he's milking this cow here, and there's chickens and such. So, and he was really surprised to see you. It looks like they'd been here on their own for a while, alone. And he goes, "So, you're not gonna take us?"
That's not my intention. No, we were actually hoping to maybe trade for some food and fuel, if you have any.
And
so I'll start talking to him as if he's
his eyes narrow again.
The man in charge now.
And the girl still won't show. Now let's quickly pan Hillbilly and Grady. You've been moving up, and Lunk has been panning the village proper or area just to make sure, and he gives you a single again. He doesn't see anybody.
Presumably we can overhear at least some of this exchange. It's not very far, is it?
It is about 80-90 meters.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, Hillbilly's going to try and come round into behind these trees and in between these trees and this hill here. I can't quite get onto it, but it's sort of there.
And you just catch the tail end, like the last bit of the conversation where he's talking about Mom and Dad not coming back and them being here, stuck. And Mary doesn't have her gun out, and she's talking with this boy who's got this shotgun pointing at her feet, sort of still, and he's still like just, he's finger on the trigger. He's just like.
So Hillbilly's going to try and take some sort of vantage point to remain hidden, but he's got a bead on the boy just in case things go sour.
Mm-hmm. So weapon shouldered and ready.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say Grady was going to try and get onto the hill without crossing.
Okay, go for it. Now, Mary, the boy seems to be a little more relaxed, though. He's not shaking so hard. His initial fright is kind of gone. He's gotten a little more confidence now, and he's so you're Mary, and what do you want to trade?
Yeah. Now, before we go any further, I see you're the man in charge now, so I'll I'll be honest with you, I'm not alone. But we definitely do not mean you any harm.
Okay, well, the barrels come up again. What do you mean? And there's more?
There are, but we're in the same situation you are. We're traveling, we've been attacked by marauders. In fact, there was a pack of dogs out in the woods. Do you like dogs? We've got an old police dog with us.
And
give you a bit of fun.
So, Grady, I'm going to award you some XP for playing that. By the way, I'll do that. I've kind of been forgetting lately. But and I'll tally some up for some other things for people that have found parts and such and focus that way. And the boy, you're putting him at his ease, you know, not having your weapon out, being the female and playing it really well. You handled that. And he seems to be quite relaxed. He puts the barrel down again and he holds it, kind of puts it to the side and he steps back and relaxes a little bit. And he goes, well, we can talk as long as you promise to be on your way after.
Promise. Yeah, we won't come in. We'll wait out here.
What are you looking for? And he looks at you a bit shrewdly, even like.
Rations, hopefully fresh meat, and she'll glance over at the chickens. And fuel. Fuels. Do you have any petrol?
And his eyes narrow, and he kind of looks at you suspiciously, and then you hear that, don't tell him anything. And he kind of he nods and he goes, yeah, we got an old tractor. I hid it a bit, camouflaged it.
Good.
And it's got some diesel in it.
All right. Would that do for us? Just thinking out of character. Is that what we're after? Diesel?
Certainly. We need diesel, yeah.
It's diesel, yeah, and a battery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
God knows what type of battery an APC takes, but
a tractor battery.
A tractor is an industrial battery.
Yeah. It's certainly,
if it's a bigger tractor, well, most tractors. I grew up on a farm and they're big friggin' batteries on a tractor.
Well, that sounds like the jackpot. We just need to trade for it, or find some other arrangement.
So, is there anything
and
you
you
need?
hear from inside, you already told him you're supposed to demand stuff first. You hear from inside the room. And it seems like a little girl, like not very old. And you see he gets embarrassed again. He goes, I know. I know. He goes, so we need weapons. He says kind of cockily, with cockiness.
Yeah, we got weapons. Yeah, sure.
What do you got? You got machine guns?
Just got the one. We need that, really. We've got small arms. We've got an SMG, a nice SMG.
And his eyes kind of go wide. Really?
Mm. Yeah.
Ammo?
Then again, we're a bit shy on ammo. We can spare you enough. A couple of reloads.
Okay. For the gas, the machine gun, plus 4 reloads. That'd be 120 rounds.
I think we can manage that, can't we?
And we'll take a look at the battery. I haven't ran the tractor for a long time.
Oh, now you mentioned the battery. Yeah, do you have any other?
You idiot! You hear from in the building. You did it again. And he gets all frustrated again. He's like, damn it, we need, and he's a radio.
What do you need a radio for?
And he's just looking for stuff. And then she yells out, she goes, we need a horse. You hear from inside.
Well, we don't have a horse.
Treated this dog.
Now, meanwhile, Hillbilly, you're kind of watching this, and Lunk is he's still on watch, and Grady, you've crept up, and you're close enough. You're hearing all this, they're haggling over stuff, and so he's like, well, what do you got for the battery then? Better be good.
yeah, I'll have to check with the other guys.
At this point, Hillbilly will he'll shoulder his rifle, and Paco will be next to him, and he'll shout out from behind. He's in cover. Mary, we're going to come out, boy. We're coming out. We're friends. This farm
Sasha,
reminds
he
me
says.
back where I used to live.
You speak Polish?
No.
Okay. You didn't actually understand what they were saying.
No,
but apparently
I
they
didn't
were.
understand a word. Yeah.
No, okay.
I speak German. That's no good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have any.
So we have to
Polish.
retcon a bit.
Let me
So you
retcon that.
realize
Yeah.
You may speak English. That's or German. I don't know. It's Polish.
So
hard.
Hillbilly would shout then, Mary, tell him we're coming out. We don't mean any harm.
And
Okay. Yeah, is that you and the dog?
Me and the dog and the others. And Hillbilly shouts to the others, shoulder your firearms.
Okay.
And so you head down there. And Lunk, he nods and he still posts up though. Lunk, he kind of puts he stays kind of hidden, in fact, and nods to you to go and Hillbilly, you want to head down there, and Grady, you're still posting up. Do you speak Polish?
No, I don't. I guess Grady will probably stand up,
And
make himself visible, but he
he's
won't.
looking around at these new figures and stuff, and he kind of sees soldierly look and stuff, but he's confident and stuff. But he's like, "So these are your friends?"
Yeah, this is Hillbilly. And
he nods. And he sees the
there's-
dog. His eyes go a bit wide, and
yes, that's what I was saying. It's an old police dog.
The Hillbilly just gives Paco like a pat on the behind as if to encourage him to run up to the boy and say hello.
Paco runs up to the pail with milk. And he assumes that you gave him permission to do that. And he goes up and starts licking the milk. But the boy just kind of goes, oh, and he's like, oh, and he steps back and doesn't shoot the dog though. And he reaches forward and starts petting it. And he's fairly disarmed at this point. Like, Mary, you could even grab him if you wanted. You realize it, that's going on in your mind though, being a trained spy. You're like, okay, I could do a karate chop to the side, and so on. But and then he forget, and then he comes back again, and when he sees Grady come down, then he's like, oh, and another one, and Grady, and then his name's Sasha, Mary.
Yeah. Grady, Sasha. This is Paco. Paco's the dog.
Ah, Paco. Paco, and the dog licks him, and after it's done drinking some milk, and you hear from inside, be careful, Sasha, be careful. You're hearing the squeaky voice of fear from in the building. And he's like, so, about the battery.
Yeah. Well, I'll explain to the others. I've sort of made a provisional deal for some fuel for some machine gun and 120 rounds. He's got a battery that could perhaps help us as well. We're just working on a deal.
120 rounds seems quite excessive.
Yeah, Hillbilly rolls his eyes, says, Mary, you do realise the next people that come across this small holding might not be as nice as us. These kids won't last another month.
Mm-hmm.
You're just giving them ammo.
Are there any adults here? Are these the only two in the whole village?
Yes, that's what they claimed.
How old exactly is this? How old are you, Sasha?
The boy? Oh,
Don't be lying.
Yeah, and he kind of puffs his chest out a bit. I'm 13.
I'll turn back to us. 13. He's old enough.
What about the one in the barn?
Yeah, it's probably sounds about 6, 7.
Jesus.
That'll be about it.
Yeah. Well, we can't pick up every stray. I'll look
Agreed.
down at Paco.
Agreed,
Well,
but we
that's
can't be
nice.
giving strays 4 reloads either.
No, they get themselves in more trouble. They're better off hiding them.
So he's like, enough talk. What language is that?
It's American.
Well, let's keep this fair. We got a deal. Let's and then you want the battery or not?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody just puts his hands up to Mary and just does like 2 fingers, as in 2 rounds and the SMG.
2 rounds in the SMG.
Is that rounds or reloads?
Well,
Rounds.
yeah, 2 magazines. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, 2 bullets. Blink. Just gonna be a long barter.
One for you, one for your sister. If you see
So
any.
he looks
yeah,
at
we did
you,
give her 2 bullets.
and so 2 reloads, some machine gun. If you make it 4, you can have the battery.
What
Okay.
about food? Ask for food. Do they have any rations?
Yeah, rations as well. Could we have a couple of chickens?
No, you can have some eggs. We got lots of
Oh.
eggs.
Yeah, that'd be good.
He's got like probably 2 dozen eggs. And like I would say a half dozen eggs is like a ration.
Let's
Right.
just out of character in a
Yeah.
minute. The one thing we're okay
Easy.
for is ammo, right? I'm still pretty good for ammo.
Yeah,
What we're not okay for is everything else.
thousands and thousands of rounds.
We've got a lot for the machine gun. I've got 5 rounds for my assault rifle and 8 12 gauge shells. So ammo, but I think we can spare some ammo, to be honest.
Yeah, the only thing
We
I'd be
don't have to fill. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying I'd be reluctant to get rid of rounds for the sniper rifle because I think I've only got a few
Agreed.
rounds.
Yeah, I never mentioned. Just sort of 7.6, is it? Oh, in fact, there might even be smaller rounds for the SMG. Might just be 5.6 millimeter. Anyway, yeah, but we don't have to fill each magazine to the top.
That's true.
So he takes you. So you agree that so far so good? Are you gonna try trick him with the empty mag? There's a big difference in the weight too. Remember?
Yeah. If we can afford the ammunition. Yeah. I won't try tricking him.
Make sure he knows how to use it.
Yeah, that too, right? You might need a little. He's like, ooh. He handled a shotgun competently. He seemed to know how to use that. So he says, okay, and he nods, and he boldly puts out his hand, like you expect a handshake from you, Mary.
Okay. I shall reply in kind, but my glove stays on.
And he shakes your hand, and and he goes, okay, come on, let's go. And the girl still hasn't come out. She's hiding somewhere in that big building. And the boy leads you into the main area of the town, and back behind this building here, he's kind of stashed. Well, there's an old tractor. Looks like an old, some old make. I'm not sure, Fendt or something. And it's a decent sized tractor, and your hopes get up a little bit. Is domestic tractor, and he kind of proudly beams and he goes, yeah, it's it ran when I put it here, or when Dad put it here.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have to roll to see how much fuel it has. All right, so we're gonna roll 100-sided, and that's the percentage of the tank of fuel. So it's a wild range. Now it's going to have a minimum amount. So actually, let me rephrase that. Yeah, roll D100 and ignore anything under. It has at least 20 units of fuel, but it could have more.
20 plus a D80.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
How are we going to transport said fuel?
There are, well, you scrounge around for a while, and in various barns and buildings and such, you can find pails and actual jerry cans.
How far away are we from where we left the APC?
If you don't get lost going back, that is.
It's whatever miles due north, definitely.
Yeah. Just find the railroad tracks.
Yeah, it's just a walk away.
Don't worry, I'll get you back.
So how much fuel did you, and it's lordy, it's diesel fuel.
Are you going to roll it again, Ben?
And you also, to your delight, you realize that this barn was like a livestock barn and so on, and outbuilding and whatnot. And beside it, there was like a tool shed. When you walk by, you look in and you're like, oh shit, it's an actual like a garage where there's all sorts of stuff.
I think Mary's done all the work here, right? So, Ian, do you want to roll for the fuel? Have we done that?
Yeah. Looks like a nice place to stay, though, doesn't it? You were mentioning earlier.
About finding home.
For the moment, the girl is not showing herself for the moment, and I'm going to say you guys who went over there. Mary went over there, right? And whoever else.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I missed a bit. Did we bargain for any water? I'm assuming they've got a well or something here. Can we fill up on water?
They do have. Actually, I'll have to roll that one.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm distracting. Maybe we can come to that.
71% fuel.
Oh, very good.
71 units.
That will...
They have water they've collected from various ways that they're willing to part with. They're willing to part with 10 units of water, 10 rations of water.
Not bad. Okay. So
he's a pretty cocky kid, considering you guys would probably overpower him and take what you will if you wanted.
We could, but that's not who we are. So
No.
10 units of water. So let's divvy that up. So I'll take 2 apiece and 3 for Mary. I think he's done the legwork here.
Right. Now the battery. And does this tractor turn over? Are you interested in
Well,
tractor?
I was wondering whether actually driving the tractor back is the best way to get the fuel there. But
well, the part you went through, the tractor would have a hard time. And you realize also with the APC, going through forest is tricky. You'll come and just to let you know. But tractors are pretty rugged. They go fucking amazing places. Yeah, you could drive the tractor.
Unless there's a better way to get the fuel back.
But and what I meant to say too is that you wouldn't save a whole bunch of time taking the tractor though, because it's not very fast.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be as fast as walking though, right?
Oh yeah. And if you're on road, the tractor can wind it out, 30 kilometers an hour easily.
It's just a bit noisier.
Noisy. Yeah.
And
I mean, if we have another way to transport the fuel, I think that's better. But last resort, we'll drive the tractor.
Each of you could carry something with fuel, sort of thing.
Let's do that then.
Because that is a fair amount of fuel, right? That's you'd each be carrying a few gallons of fuel.
So you could do jerry can in each hand, I guess. Does the battery work? Do we need me to roll for anything like tech or?
This is sort of a luck roll, but I'll use your tech. And a sort of and you're like, I wonder if this thing actually still has juice and runs. So this will see if you have a live battery or not, actually. So
this is an important one then.
And I'm thinking about a modifier to this. because it's been so long, you're going to be -1.
Tech roll. Is everyone happy for me to do this? I've got quite good tech.
Yeah.
Sure.
-1, yeah. 1 success.
Nice.
And the thing, it takes a bit coaxing, and it chortles and pops, and a big black plume of smoke pops out and rumbles to life, and finally settles down, idles. And the boy is like, yeah, and I knew it.
Yeah,
go.
you've done good, Sasha. You've done good.
Yeah, but he's real proud of that gun. Like, he's like, oh, I got a good deal, yeah, because he's not thinking too smart, though. I mean, he's giving up stuff, but he's a kid, and you offered him a submachine gun, or he demanded it, and you gave it to him.
So how many rations did we get? Do we get eggs and things?
Yeah, so total rations with eggs was 6 rations worth of eggs.
2 rations each then, and then Lunk can go hungry.
He's not, yeah.
Okay, I just added these to my character sheet whilst I remember, yeah.
So you turn off the engine, and or you can decide to run it for a bit if you want to decide.
Try and charge it up.
Well, yeah, but it seems to have charge, so it's good. It's not going to die in a day.
Pretty heavy though, isn't it? But yeah.
Oh, these batteries. This battery weighs 70 pounds, or that's about 30 kilos.
30 kilos.
This is again what makes you think like actually just driving the tractor is the best way.
Yeah, I'll be showing Sasha how to use this gun.
Is there any kind of? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. The tractor does have a problem.
Okay.
What I'm thinking is the farm must have some sort of like wheelbarrow or cart or something that we could load up.
Oh, let me think a minute. And yeah, you can come up with something. There would be like hand cart.
I think
around.
a wheelbarrow, hand cart.
Wheelbarrow, yeah. And the boy seems kind of eager. They kind of want to get you guys gone, They're like, yeah, remember you promised to go, and you can't take the tractor. And he's stubborn.
Mm-hmm. We'll just strip it for parts.
Yeah.
Can we actually do that though? Can I actually strip this for any spare parts?
What could you get? Well, then you have a lot of weight and time. If you want to take the time.
Yeah, fine.
And a lot of weight. Tractor parts are heavy. Like a starter weighs 55 pounds.
Fine, leave it. I don't think we need them. We know the APC works. Give them fuel and a battery.
Oh, the rad. Remember? Now you've fandangled your rad, but it's. I was gonna make you roll every time you drove the thing because.
Yeah.
It's. So you guys. I'll say that you guys he's so enamored with the gun and the ammo and you show him how to use it and stuff, but he seems like this kid's a survivor though. He didn't go shooting around and stuff because he's like realized noise and such. He's still, and he goes, but he's sort of eager for you to be on your way. And he's
what
still
happened
waiting.
What happened to the rest of the people in the village?
And he kind of looks toward the airstrike. He says that did most of it. One night, the whole world erupted, flattened everything there. And then most people wandered off, and a sickness came. There were glows on the horizon. It's this usual story. People died of this and that. But surprisingly, it's been quiet here. They think, they think they're safe. They have a spot here where they can wait for mom and dad to come home.
I think they might be disappointed.
Well, if you ever get sick, head north, find the railway tracks, and head west. My suggestion. That's probably where your ma and pa went.
So who's going to carry the rad? That takes up 4 slots.
Yeah, whichever's the, I can take whatever's
And the battery is heavy.
makes sense. To take
Did we
one or
get
the
some
other,
sort
I
of
guess.
cart or something, or a wheelbarrow or something? Trying to
Yes,
load that up.
sure. And so you fandangle something together, and after about 20 minutes, half hour, you've got sort of a rudimentary kind of couple sticks tied to a wagon wheel you found, and fandangled something together, and you plunk with the big battery on there. You put the fuel on there, and we'll see how this goes. It's going to slow you down, but it's better. You might have to carry it in some areas. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you take the rad, take the fuel and the battery, and he's happy with his gun, and he waves to you as you leave. And are you going to be just basically backtracking? Is the plan?
Yeah, I think if I had a last bar of chocolate left, I'll give it to him and say that's for you and your sister before we go.
Yeah, she's scared. He says she doesn't trust anybody.
That's a good attitude to take.
And
People have
he
got
nods.
to earn trust.
And he waves as you guys leave, and he's looking at the chocolate bar. He's tempted probably to eat it. And are you guys going to follow your trail that you took here, basically?
I think so. Yeah, back to the APC.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when you stumbled across this valley, you came upon it you came over this ridge, and you came down into the valley, kind of through the forest. But you do notice that there's roads that come through the valley, and as you're leaving, you're now leaving the place, and you're probably about half a kilometer away or so, and you leave kind of the road, and you start heading in the forest, and this is where you have to kind of ditch the cart. It just it won't work. You realize it did help as it got you out of the valley pretty quick, but now you realize that we're going up hills and stuff and through creeks, and you could possibly put handles on it, and 4 of you could pack it as like a gurney. Another way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You guys think about it, but as you're thinking about this, who was your point person again? That was Grady.
Mm-hmm.
Could you give me a recon roll, please?
Oh, the recon roll.
Oh God, these fucking
Positive, Grady.
Think good. Eventually.
Hey.
And you were kind of moving around, and then you post up once in a while as they go by you, right? And you look around, and you do that often, and then you skirt around or go and look for points of areas where you get good advantage. And as you're leaving the valley, you look down and you see some clearly soldier types coming down one of the kind of deactivated roads into the valley, and they're coming from the north going south. And they seem to have been following the road. They look heavily armed. Assault rifles, some of them armored, and they're moving cautiously. There's one guy forward, you notice, and he's been looking around carefully, and he swept by where you guys were, and you guys are you're looking at them through your binoculars or scope, and so you're ways away. You're probably 500 meters away from them, and so they don't see you. And you give the signal to the other ones, everyone get down, and everyone kind of, and you've got your packs on, and they've got the gurney, and you guys are deciding what to do with this wheelbarrow at this point. You're just kind of, what the hell are we going to do now? And because you realize lugging this thing up this hill wasn't working. But everyone down, and you're looking, and you're like, oh shit.
Do I recognize any uniforms or anything like that? Do they look like
there's at least
military
10? No, from your through the scope, you can see that they have a ragtag sort of rough-looking chaps, and seem to be all men.
10 heavily armed men heading towards the village.
One of them has a large AK light machine gun, just a big heavy AK, I forget what they're called. And he's got like a belt of ammunition over his shoulder, and he's kind of in the middle, and he's looking back and forth, and he's got this sort of weird gas mask on. He looks kind of creepy, and he's real big, and he's just like, he seems to be kind of in charge. He's sort of surrounded by some other thuggish looking characters. Some of them have like their hair done up in spikes in like mohawks. And he does too with his gas mask in front, but he's got this most of them, if they have hair, they have mohawks. And a lot of them are wearing like goggles and just, they look really weird and out of sorts. And
looks like a scene out of Mad Max is going towards the
yeah, and they look cocky and like going towards the farm.
God, we gave Sasha that small submachine gun now. Let's sort them out. This is about 500 meters away, is it?
Yeah, and they're probably about a kilometer away from the farm.
Okay.
If that, and moving.
Nobody just says decision time.
They'll be there in
If
about 10
marauders
minutes.
make it to the farm, those kids are dead. We attack them, good chance we're dead.
I mean, if I try to take a pot shot now and then we immediately ran into the...
Yeah, Hillbilly looks up, we're carrying 72 gallons of fuel, a radiator and a battery. We ain't quick.
And your backpacks. You're already loaded.
Thanks.
We either
leave the stuff here. Tell you what, you guys stay here. I'll run back and warn the kids.
So we're in real time right now. So they're going by you, and you estimate 8-10 minutes tops. They'll be at the farm.
This is not a fight we can win. There's 10 of them, heavily armed. 4 of us.
I know. I'll go and warn the kids, get them into the woods, and hopefully the guys will pass.
Honourable. And
Got to warn them at
Hillbilly
least.
just nods.
Okay.
We'll keep him in our sights. If things go south, we'll do what I can.
Okay.
So you're going to send Grady down to the farm.
No.
Now it's going to be a bit of a... Now you want to... Oh, pardon me, Mary. So how do you prepare to do this? And everyone else can declare what they want to do. The general plan is to go warn the kids, hide or flee, whatever you decide, right?
Yeah.
These soldiers are moving pretty quick. Like they're fast march. They're not soldiers. They're a ragged bunch of marauders.
Can they be overtaken though?
Yes, lightly armoured Mary with just a pistol and things can sprint and hopefully make it there ahead of them.
Yeah, hopefully.
Whilst Hillbilly and Grady and Lunk try and keep a bead on them. And if things go bad, we can get a vantage point. But it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, so Mary using what cover she can. Guessing they haven't seen us, so she'll move back the way she came.
So packs off, strip down to combat mode. Mary's taken off alone. The rest of you, are you stripping down to combat mode?
Yes.
Packs off, stash.
Yeah, stash it with the fuel and the battery and radio.
Yeah, so in a little cusp of bushes and such, you just make a little stash quickly. You have to move pretty fast and time's ticking by. You see they move and kind of, they're going in and out of sight in, behind trees and so on, right? And they're in and out of view, but they're making good speed and Mary takes off. So as the moments tick by, you see they kind of go out of sight after about 2 or 3 minutes. They go down into the valley and around the corner or whatever. And because you technically can't see the farm from where you are.
Well, I would have been trying to keep at their pace, I guess. Not necessarily.
Do you want to go parallel with them, or do you want to go in behind them, or our angle?
Keep to one side. I mean, say they're going straight down, right?
Head south, yeah, following
Yeah,
this
heading
road.
south. So I'll try and keep behind, but to one side, to the right, I guess. I'm not trying to overtake them. I'm just trying to keep them within sight.
Right. And so now you are 500 meters away from them, so you are going to be closing the distance a bit.
Yeah.
Hillbilly, you're muted. And I was going to take a short break anyway. I was going to run to the washroom. So everyone think a minute what you're doing, and they walk out of sight. They're going to be in the village in moments. Mary's been gone for about 5 minutes. Mary, I'm going to get you to make a roll. Which one? I don't have a character sheet up right now. What would be apt would be either to moving through the bush. It'd be a maneuver roll to see if you can actually pace them or even get ahead of them. So if you get 2 successes, you will get there. Or no, if you succeed, you'll get there before them. Mary, because you're moving quick and you're like, and you're dodging through trees and boogieing.
Right, so that's agility. And
if you have mobility as a skill.
Mobility is Mary's forte, isn't it?
Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Now, Hillbilly, what are you doing?
So Hillbilly's just trying to stay in the tree line, I guess, where we are, trying to keep a vantage point on these marauders, but
they're out of sight now. They left,
sorry.
unless you follow them, and you're 500 meters away and getting further as they move.
Oh no, so I think we'll follow them and try and keep a bead on them.
Are you going to stay?
If anything, get a little bit closer so that we can
Yeah, you're a long ways away, and you're barely keeping them in sight now. So you can give me mobility to see if you can close the distance and get closer, if you want. Unless you just want to stay offish, that's okay too. But right now you're not at effective range at all.
No, so I'd like to try and get closer. Yeah.
Is that both of us or just?
And so anybody who wants to try to, just everybody roll a mobility check then if we're all moving. And they're just moving at a regular marching pace. And so if you're booking it, you can probably close the distance.
I have to push my roll.
Yeah, you can push that roll, yeah.
Push.
Okay.
Fail for me. Let me push it. Pushed, fail still.
You'd each take a point of damage.
3 successes.
Oh, wow. That was Grady?
Yep.
So Grady, you can yourself, you move quickly through the bush and stuff. If you want, you can, with those amount of successes, you can actually get as close almost as you wish to them, basically.
Okay. I'll get as close. I'll get it within short range, I guess.
Now, if you get within, you figure if you start getting really close, like within 100 meters, that's
about 100 meters. So maybe just slightly off the 100 meters.
Excellent. And your mobility was successful, and they don't seem to have noticed you. Actually, I'm going to make a roll here.
Uh-oh.
First one.
Fireworks.
They're not really, well, they're sort of paying attention. So I'm just thinking here, I'm going to give them but they're going to be -2. Okay, no successes. They did not see you, Grady. You've successfully gotten within about 120 meters and kind of just in time, in a way, because you notice they are now approaching the outskirts of the village itself, and they're being pretty cautious now, and they're kind of, slowed down a little bit, but still cocky and staying right on the road, going right up the middle. And meanwhile, I'll be back in a few minutes, everybody, and we are playing for another, hopefully everybody can stay around for about 20 minutes-ish. That's the...
Yeah. I'll make it personally, yeah.
So I'm not sure if we're going to get into the meat of this encounter. We'll see. But
Hopefully it
could
won't be an
interesting.
encounter. We're going to steal away. They'll never know we're here.
I see. Okay, I'll be right back.
This is where we need Lunk and his machine gun.
Lunk is just watching the bags, is he?
Not heard from Dave since he dropped off. I don't know what's happened.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
he
quite a
put
bit.
that he got disconnected and was trying to reconnect, and then
Ah.
nothing.
Serious problems by the sound of it.
Yeah. I don't fancy our chances against 10 men armed similarly to ourselves, to be honest.
Mm.
No.
If things do go wrong, I think the one thing we have to make sure of is we get the first shots off.
Mm-hmm. Was there an obvious, I can't remember the description of them, was there an obvious leader?
Yeah.
Oh, good shout, yeah. You can take
Yeah, the
him out.
big bloke with the gas mask.
Mm.
We could just go for it, see what happens.
What's the worst that could happen, you know?
We all die. So we send Lunk running down the hill as like some kind of diversion.
Yeah, full Rambo mode. Submachine
I was
gun
thinking
hound
more
up
just
to-
like naked and just like flailing his arms around.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, that might be enough to put the fear.
Enough of your fantasies, anyway, hillbilly.
I didn't say Mary.
Ah. Well, that's a different story.
So Mary's going to go in and to the barn and just try and get the two kids and bring them into the forest on the kind of right hand side. Is that it?
Yeah, the way I came in.
All right, pardon me. All right, so Mary, is everybody back, actually?
Mm-hmm.
I guess
Yeah.
we never did recover David. That's unfortunate.
Well, we've got a plan for Lunk, so it's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What is Lunk doing, by the way?
He's
Speaking of
running down
Lunk,
the hill naked as a
He's
diversion.
He's not clothes on.
his birthday suit. Oh well, that's his decoy. Naked
In second
madman
thoughts,
runs
he
into the
can
bush. Hey, get him!
set up in the tree line with his heavy machine gun.
Now, did he attempt to close the distance?
I guess he would have followed suit, yeah.
Yeah, because you're too far. So I'll roll a.
I've got no idea what his stats are.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a B and a C just because, and see how he does. So he got one success. So he managed to close the distance and get within a couple hundred meters. He's a little ways behind Grady though, who was quicker and went ahead, and so he's a ways away yet. Mary, you backtracked quickly and you're just like moved fast. You got a bunch of successes, correct? Or how did you do in your visibility?
I got 0.
Oh crap.
80 got the 3, yeah.
Oh, so you got kind of hung up on your way there, unfortunately, Mary.
Yeah.
And that was on the push as well.
Same old. Yeah.
Okay, and you wiped out. And we're like, damn it.
I didn't get a 1, which is a good
Oh
thing.
no, gotcha. You come into the side and you enter the farm quickly from now. We'll go to the map a minute, actually. Let me think.
The joke will be on us if it's their parents coming back, right?
Hey, okay, so ignore the your avatars for the moment. I'll get Mary. So Mary, you go back to that barn where the cow was, and it's not there now. It's been put in a pasture or something. You think, and you're like, shit. You look around.
Sasha, it's Mary.
And but yeah, you're yelling out, Sasha, Sasha.
Harsh whisper.
You hear this,
not
go
yelling.
away, in the girl's voice.
There's some bad people coming. You need to come to the woods with me now. Get your brother.
He's and now a couple things happen at once, because she's like, he took the cow. He took the cow over to the pasture. She yells out.
Stop yelling. Come on, we need to go. Catch him. Come on, quick.
And she goes, it's a trick. It's a trick.
No, it's not. Why would I want to trick you? If I had a good deal, I'll give you some chocolate. Grief. Come on. Quick.
After that coaxing, however, at that point, you hear some gunshots. Bam, 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 coming from now Grady. You see these guys hit the north part of the village, and you're like, damn it, where's Mary? And you're like, what's going on? And you can't, from where you are, you can't see that barn where Mary is. But you can see the marauders entering the north village, and one of them kind of nonchalantly takes a pot shot at the chickens. And you see some bursts of feathers. And there's a bit of a laugh. and some chuckles coming from them. And they move in, and you see a couple of them are branching off and checking buildings really quickly and kicking in doors and waving their weapons around. And the guy with the gas mask, he's like speaking through his gas mask. Do you speak Polish, Mary? Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, so, is there nobody in this place? Look around. Leave none alive. And we need slaves.
Was that now me, or was it Mary? Then
that would be
hearing
Grady.
distance.
You got close enough. You were.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand Polish.
Oh, pardon me. So he's clearly giving orders and gesturing, and they're kicking in doors, and they're moving. They're going to move quickly into the village. They're moving pretty efficiently. They've done their share of looting, and so on.
I'm going to keep a bead on that guy because he's obviously the leader.
Now they're going to be kind of scattered and out of view, some of them. You know what I mean? And what I'll do is I'll have to set up a bit of a situation here.
Okay.
Now this actually might be a good time to wind down the session.
Yeah.
Because this could go haywire or not.
No, it'll be grand.
Fine. No, it's good that they're splitting up.
Yeah, they are kind of. They're going into loot mode and going into little groups of 1s and 2s, 3s, and the leader guy, he went toward the church.
Okay, I'll get my silence on. I'll have to take 2 at a time. We'll be all right.
So, gentlemen, is there any last thoughts? What are you doing at this last moment? We start. Well, Mary, we've kind of covered. You're trying to get this girl to cooperate. She doesn't trust you. She's in the building, hiding in her bolt hole or whatever. You realize it's upstairs, like it's some attic in this building that the voice is coming from.
Well, I'll be going in through the front door and, like I say, putting on my silencer.
Gotcha. Hillbilly.
How far back is Hillbilly? I failed my roll.
You're about 300 meters
Okay.
away.
So Hillbilly's just making it as quick as possible to the village.
You heard some gunshots. Semi-automatic. Well, actually, the guy with the guy at the mask used that machine gun.
So is that roughly where, as far as Brady got, or what you've got? I'd like to be kind of hugging the tree line.
Yeah,
at
that's
the
very
village somewhere.
possible. Yeah.
Somewhere like this kind of thing.
So you're going to try to get yourself in a good position to kind of flank or get sight on, right?
Yeah, I'd like to have view of the. I don't know if I view of the barn there as well. I do. I think, don't I?
Okay, so let's set up our avatars where we're going to end. So Grady is close. So Hillbilly, I'm going to put your avatar way back here
Mm-hmm.
on to signify that you're like off the
Yeah,
map
off the page.
because
Yep.
each one of these is 10, so you're going to be quite a ways away. Grady, you did a really good job. You snuck in there. They didn't see you so far. Lunk is naked wandering to the bush.
Yeah.
No, he's of course he's gone. Well, what do you guys want to run him? He could be with Hillbilly. I was gonna say, basically.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that might
Yeah.
make sense.
I agree.
Okay, so
Lunk made his roll though, so he'd probably be ahead of me. I don't know.
oh, if he wished,
Oh,
yeah,
he
if
did.
he
Yeah, he
wishes,
got a success, right?
if he
So
wishes.
yeah, we need him and his heavy machine gun. So yeah, he's hopefully
So
setting up on the hill with a.
he's
with a
on his
line of
way
sight.
to that hill. It's pretty good sight lines. Yeah, I'll set up some sight lines and stuff. I'll set this map up in case things do go south.
I think they already have.
Yeah, wow, that was a big one, Mary, when you took long to get there. I was just like, well, they entered the village at that point.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that. And backpacks are off. I assume you guys said you stashed everything again. That's right.
Yeah.
So let me pause the recording.